All right, let's start with the motion.
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the May 12, 2025 agenda.
Motion made and seconded. Motion passes. Next, we have report of board members. Start at the end. No report.
Mr. President.
Start at the end.
Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to report that I was blessed to attend the mayor's prayer breakfast, and it was wonderful. I think it was a wonderful event. I believe the community came in and really supported Sisters in Christ and others who helped to sponsor it. It was a wonderful event. And secondly, I got a chance to help facilitate Faith Bible College's high school and college graduation this weekend. And I mentioned that because 6 of our Raytown transitional living adults graduated with their high school diploma. And I know that may not sound like much, but for you to be an adult and not be ashamed to go back and get your education, all of them are slated now to go further in college. I think, and they came from the Sisters in Christ Transitional Living Program here in Raytown. I think that is noteworthy.
Mr. President, my big event that I went to United in Song. I just want to give a shout out to all the bands, orchestras, and choir groups from all the schools. It was fantastic. I saw a lot of people who've never been to Kaufman before, for allowing us to have the opportunity for families, in this community to actually go downtown, go to Kaufman, and actually see their child on that stage. So it was an amazing event. I thank all the board, the band directors, the orchestra directors, and I really want to make a special shout out to Alex Colster for helping putting that all on. He also got nominated he's a quarterfinalist for the Grammy for Music Educator. So he did an amazing job, and I'm very proud of him. So that's my board report.
Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to just kind of share, got an opportunity, as being the president of REAP, to participate with the real world learning coordinator, Kiana Dickerson, over at Raytown High School. So I want to shout out Dr. Griner. Phenomenal opportunity, getting a chance for the senior English students to have REAP as their project. We got a chance to meet a few times in the past 3 months for them to learn about REAP, for them to kind of strategize and help us understand where we can be better. One of their biggest things, of course, was social media. I said, hey, we have Facebook. He was like, hey, my mom and my grandma have Facebook. And I said, you know what, you're right, because that's what I'm on. But they were phenomenal. And then last week, spent a day and a half at the school hearing their presentations. The students got dressed up. They had handouts, pamphlets, presentations in the library. Just phenomenal experience. So that real world learning, I think, is great for them. I got a chance to critique them on how they present, just from how they talk, the pauses that they need to have, and then their presentation skills. And so it was phenomenal. Secondly, had a visit over at Read from Life University last week. Some students came over and we had a lot of items and things for them to kind of go through. And then you can see the smiles on their faces as they kind of lit up, being able to kind of shop on their own, and us learning about them as well, and them learning about what we do at REAP. So just a great experience. All right.
Good evening. I would like to say thank you to Sisters in Christ for inviting me to the Mayor's Prayer Breakfast and being able to open up with the Pledge of Allegiance. I would also like to say Hey, congratulations and very, very, very great job to all the teachers for Teachers Week last week. I want to give you guys a round of applause. Say thank you for all you do. And I would be remiss not to say happy belated Mother's Day to all of the mothers. So thank you guys for all. And I'm going to say I will really, really miss all of our seniors we'll be sending off this weekend. So thank you guys for all you've done for us and me to be a board member. So thank you guys very much.
All right. Yeah, we're good. So I got to attend the retirement dinner for our teachers that retired this year. Fortunately and unfortunately, it was 4 of them. But the thing was, we had a good night, and any chance you get to go to Cinder restaurant is a good thing because the food's really good. And so I can't wait till that's a happening place on Friday nights. But it was really good, and we really appreciate the years of service that those teachers provided to us, and we are thankful that they have reproduced themselves prior to leaving, and look forward to many more years of our teachers being dedicated to our district. Next, we have the report of the superintendent, Dr. Martin Knox.
Good evening, Chairman Burton, Vice Chairman Newton, members of the Raytown Quality School District Board, and members of the Raytown Quality School District community. It's absolutely amazing that we are at the end of the school year, and this is the point in time where we're closing a school year while also preparing for another. So if you ask us, are we in a good place? The answer is no, because we are saying farewell to our seniors. While we will miss them dearly, we can't wait to see what it is that they have to offer in their future endeavors. This week, I wrapped up my meetings with our superintendent ambassadors, which are our students who really represent our student council and are their leaders within our high schools. And I will tell you, if you've never popped in to hear the dialogue between myself and the students, it is an absolutely wonderful experience. This one was a little different as they changed my vocabulary. And they're laughing because they know what I'm talking about. But I just wanted to say, while we have a junior and senior representative in the audience this evening, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being the voice of our students. Thank you for not holding anything back when you come and meet with me. But I truly opened that dialogue because we only get better because of you. And so Chase, as the senior sitting here, I just want to thank you for all that you've done and continue to do. And I know you will make us proud moving forward. And that goes for all of our seniors who are here this evening. One will be recognized in a moment, so I'm not going to steal some thunder, but you'll see momentarily. I also want to recognize some individuals. Last week, we were able to celebrate several of our students who graduated through a program from UCM. And I'm saying this to not only recognize those students, but to market the partnership that we have with UCM. And so we had individual students who graduated with warehouse certification. And the question is, what does that mean? It means that we have students who are now marketable. Their market value asset has increased. They can still go to college. They can still go into the military, but they have additional credentials that sets them apart from others. So I just want to personally recognize those students for their hard work and their efforts. They graduated with certification in OSHA 10. They graduated with AED CPR certification, and they are also warehouse forklift certified as well. So they will immediately be able to go into the workforce. And one of the things we talk about with CTE and the opportunities we provide our children, this is not squeezing everybody into the same pipeline. Every child's not college ready, but we will ensure that they are college ready if it is their choice. We also want to make sure they're career ready if it is their choice, and also being military ready. And how about that? If we have students who are graduating already certified to go into workforce, they could possibly get a job with a company that has tuition reimbursement. And so they can continue to work on their college degrees while they're also working, which will help support their families and their household. So just a work of art to watch our children. I actually went to watch them get certified with the forklift. I stayed behind the fence, but they were being trained on I did. And they knew it. They smiled too. And I smiled and waved and gave them a thumbs up behind the fence. And so it's just amazing to watch our kids. And I just want to thank Dr. Greiner and our curriculum folks for making sure that we're able to push opportunities like that for our children, because I don't think we need to keep our children locked in a box. Let them explore and find what it is that they desire, something that will allow them all to be successful. And in the words of one of the parents, it probably wouldn't have happened for her son had it not been for this program. So I just wanted to put that piece out there. I also want to congratulate our culinary students. Our students went to a national competition last weekend in Baltimore. And so I actually joined just to watch them in action. And if you've not seen it, it's on our social media. It's also on the national platform. And when I tell you our children are simply amazing, they are simply amazing. So I just want to give a shout out to our students in the culinary program at Herndon and for Chef Mike. I don't think many people understand the amount of work that goes behind preparing students on a day-to-day basis, much more or less for national competition. We also had an opportunity to celebrate our retirees. I think we have a few in the audience, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot because sometimes people's eyes begin to sweat, and I don't want to do that. But for those who are in the audience, if you're okay with me saying something and recognizing you, please stand. Okay, I guess not. I'm going to put them on the spot anyway. Mr. Hammond, would you stand, please? Just want to thank you, Mr. Hammond, for the work that you do. I was actually listening to a podcast last evening, and one of the things they said is the job of a high school principal is one of the most challenging. And then someone chimed in and said, no, in education, it's challenging. But I will say firsthand, we appreciate you. We thank you for what you've done for the children at South High School, and we're going to miss you. So we wish you well in your next chapter of your life. But just thank you, and for all of our retirees who will be saying farewell. And understand Dr. Calcara is here. He still has your contact information, so do not hesitate answering the phone when he calls to ask you to step in and sub. You all are laughing. I'm serious. And so at this point, I would like to move to item 8.7, which is our demographic study. And speaking of Dr. Calcara.
Can we go to 8.6?
Okay, sure. Are you telling me what to do?
No,
Okay. Okay, so the suggestion was for me to go to 8.6, which I will oblige, and then 8.7?
yes, ma'am.
I forgot something. The jazz band, Ray South. Oh man, they were good. They were good at their retirement dinner. Yeah, I started listening to all those songs on my. I started streaming them as soon as I left. I was like, man, they were good. Anyway, Herbie Hancock.
Mr. President, Vice President, members of the board, our guests. Last month, if you remember, Mr. Johnson came from CBiz to talk to us about our insurance renewal. We've had 3 years of no increase to our premiums. And part of that is because of the great preventative care that our employees receive at the care clinic. Although we weren't at a 0% increase, it was 1.2, which is well below industry standard. Again, part of the reason and one of the things that I think Raytown does better than most school districts around us is take care of our folks through the care clinic. We have our annual utilization review that we want to briefly go over with you. Again, because this is such a critical component of one of the benefits that we're able to offer our employees. We appreciate our CBiz partners, and one of those is here with us tonight. Ms. Erin Eason will take us through our annual utilization report.
Good evening. Thank you so much for your time. I get the fun part compared to what my colleague got. I get to talk about the Raytown Quality Care Clinic, which, as Dr. Calcara mentioned, is in my book of business that I work with, it's something that I use as the gold standard of what I hope my other clients will achieve. So I want to spend a little bit of time. And do you have the slides in front of you?
It's.
Do I click? There we go. Did that. All right. So I want to spend just a couple of minutes kind of looking back to where we started. This was our 9th year in 2024 of the Raytown Quality Care Clinic. So we're in our 10th year and we're excited to celebrate that coming up. So it opened in August of 2015, and I'm not going to read every single thing to you, but I want to highlight in April of 2024, we had the opportunity to add our new physical therapist and our new behavioral health counselor to staff. We had those services before, and this was a gap that we had. It takes time to find the right people, but we were really excited to have Lena and Jared alongside Dr. Hearn and Amber and Nisha in the clinic, and Tara. So just some key utilization metrics that we look at on, we look at these on a monthly basis, we look at them on a quarterly basis, and then this is annual data, just to look to see how we're trending, making sure that we're maintaining and growing in an ongoing way. So we had over 3,800 total primary care visits seen in the health center. Those are folks who saw our providers, our nurses for anything related to their own personal health. We had behavioral health started in May. After that gap, we had 184 behavioral health visits and 43 individual patients treated. These numbers, if you compare them to the health plan, are higher. And that's not because people, it may be in some degree because people are more comfortable, but really accessing behavioral health, accessing therapy and counseling in the community is really challenging. There are just a huge shortage of therapists, a huge shortage of therapists willing to take your medical plan. And so anybody's medical plan, not just yours. And so after offering this service, having it available to employees at either low or no cost is just an incredibly important thing. And you guys do it well. Wellness coaching visits. These are virtual care visits offered through your partner, Premise Health. You had 128 total visits, 33 unique individuals utilizing it. PT, again, started mid-year, and we had 250 visits, 38 unique personal health. That's continued to grow. We have 10 hours of PT a week. It's full consistently, so that's something we're keeping an eye on, making sure we're serving population. Over 500 occupational health or work-related illness injury visits. That includes 78 bus driver exams. They are kicking off starting next month or later this month. And so that'll start ramping up in the summertime. Started on the wrong slide. I apologize. We had 1,000 total unique patients using the health center for personal health. That's 82% of your employees access this health center. That's an incredibly high number. 263 were new. So we had a combination of new folks to the district, their families utilizing the health center. Of the breakdown that I showed before, there were over 4,700 total kept visits, all inclusive. 25% were accessed virtually, so folks could access them from their homes if they were too ill to come in, or from their home locations within the district, so that they didn't have to leave the job if they didn't choose to. We watch capacity utilization. I mentioned the 10 hours of PT time. We watch that to make sure that you have access, your folks have access consistently when they need it. And at 87%, that's telling us we're highly utilized. We have a little bit more room, and that allows that same day, next day availability. So we want to be in that space. We don't want to be much above 90%. That tells us people are having to wait a little too long for appointments. So an average of 4.3 personal health visits per patient. That's important because it tells us that our patients are utilizing this as their medical home. They're not just walking in and getting a lab draw. They're not just walking in when they had a sore throat and it's their last choice. They're going in for their preventive care and they're coming back over and over again within a year. 100% of the top diagnoses were chronic conditions. We don't want people to have chronic conditions, but the reality is, as we age in this world, we get them. And so what this tells us is that our providers in the clinic are treating those chronic conditions consistently. We had over 4,000 medications either dispensed on site. So when they walked out, they had a medication in hand, or they were dispensed through the home delivery program. That's at no additional cost. That's included in the cost of the care. If they have a visit fee or if they have no visit fee, depending on their plan, there's no additional cost. So people are accessing the medications they need to get better, to be there to serve your students, to serve their staff, their coworkers. 4,400 labs were drawn, and we referred 260 folks out into the community for care that they needed. So whether that's a cardiologist, whether that's a dermatologist, whether that's a mammogram, getting people out there and making sure they're following up. 82 were internal referrals. Those are referrals back into our physical therapy, our behavioral health, or our wellness coaching. The fun stuff is the satisfaction data. 100% of folks rated the services that they received as either excellent or good, the large majority excellent. This is on a post-visit survey that they're offered right after their visit. They're asked if they would like to complete a survey, and they have a couple of minutes on a tablet to do that. 100% indicated that their privacy and confidentiality was maintained. Obviously, healthcare is an incredibly private thing. HIPAA laws guide the provision of healthcare in this clinic, but the perception of that is equally as important. And 100% of people felt that their privacy was maintained. 100% of people who completed the survey indicated that they were willing to recommend it. 99.7 indicated that they were either likely or very likely to return. We look at every single one of the people that says no. A lot of times it's I'm retiring, or I'm leaving the area. Those are the types of folks that are often not willing or able to return. And almost 8% waited less than 10 minutes to be seen. 92, almost 93% had no wait or waited less than 5 minutes. If you've ever been to the doctor in the community, that wait time is far less than what you probably have experienced. The word cloud next to the statistics is pulled from the free text comments that your staff members and their families enter. And the words that are larger are repeated more frequently. So you can see Dr. Hearn, Dr. Nisha, you see service, care, love. I can see the physical therapist named Jared in there, professional, thorough, great. That's the kind of care that your providers are offering to the staff and their family members. And the last thing I just want to go through, and I'm not going to read every single one. I just chose a couple, but you feel free to read every single one. These are just a few of the comments that were pulled. Within the survey, we ask if people are willing to share this information. So they've given permission to have this shared. It's obviously de-identified, or they don't identify in the survey. But I'm just going to read a few to you. I'm so thankful that we have this resource available to us. Having the clinic has been one of the best decisions Raytown C2 has made. I'm grateful that Dr. Hearn is my primary physician. The staff, Nisha, Dee, and Dr. Hearn, that's our MA and our primary physician, really care about you and the health issues you may have. The customer service is amazing, and it is enjoyable to go to the doctor when you know that you will be treated like family. I cannot express how much these two professionals mean to me. Thank you for adding physical therapy. Jared is caring, professional, and listens to come up with a program that is doable but beneficial to his patients. We've heard stories about Jared where people have avoided having surgery just by getting physical therapy, which is a wonderful thing. It's less costly to your plan. To Dr. Calcare's note around how the health plan has been performing, but surgery is tough. And so avoiding it for the individuals is equally as important. And with that, I will just open it up to any questions you might have.
Any questions? All right.
Mr. Bruce. I don't have any questions, but just thank you. I mean, I think this is one of the best things we have done. As a board member, not being able to participate in this service, it's kind of depressing.
I feel that
I have
every
to go
day.
to my own doctor. So, yeah.
There you go. That's the bright side.
So very good on one hand, depressing on the other. So thank you.
Absolutely. Everybody doesn't have it. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate
All right.
it.
Thank you.
So again, one of the things our district does that's better than districts around us and sets us apart and certainly is exceptional. You know, that 1.2% increase, although very low, is still hundreds of thousands of dollars to the district. We did not, with your help, Jackie Vernon's help, Dr. Martin Knox, we did not pass that along to our employees. We did absorb that because so they have their fourth year of no cost premiums to the district. So again, that was something that we're doing. You know, again, we look at the preventative care, which is able to help us keep our plans down. We were able to work with our CBIZ partners and Blue Cross Blue Shield to offer narrow network plans. Those plans are cheaper for the district to buy. And so what we did is we turned around and invested that money back into our employees. And so now if you go on that narrow network plan and employee only, your HSA is $1,555. So we doubled that. And so again, I think those aren't things that people are walking around saying, I'm staying in Raytown because, or I'm coming to Raytown because. But what I'll tell you anecdotally, they're good for us. They keep people here and they are recruiting points that although you don't hear enough about, they are the right thing to do for our folks. So you should feel good about those things. Thank you.
That's right.
8.7.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Martin Knox. We'll move on to the demographic study. If you recall, we put out an RFP earlier in the school year for an updated demographic report. Mr. Cropper and his crew have been moving forward in that work over the past several months. I want to thank Matt Berlinden and his technology team because a lot of this was data heavy, and Matt and his team needed to dig into that data to give to Mr. Cropper. But we've got him here tonight. Matt, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself to the board and our public?
Sure, Dr. Kalkara. Thank you very much. President Burton, members of the board, Dr. Martin Knox, and viewing audience, thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. I am Matthew Cropper with Cropper GIS Consulting, and as was stated, we have been working with the district over the past couple of months, and we are here to present our demographic study and utilization forecast findings. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, so yeah, like I said, we've been doing some work with the district for the past couple months. We've done an enrollment forecast, and then we also looked at that forecasted enrollment and how that relates to capacity and utilization of your schools throughout the district. This will help serve as a guide for the district and inform them over the next 10 years of how schools and enrollment is anticipated to change as it relates to enrollment totals and also school utilization. I'm Matthew Cropper. I have a lot of experience doing this. We're in the 20th year. This is the 20th year of our business being open, and have a lot of extensive experience doing this kind of work across the country. This is our specialty. In addition to doing work with K-12 schools, we also do work with the U.S. Department of Justice, the Office of Civil Rights, and I work with them on federal desegregation cases that currently exist across in certain places in the United States. But come here as an outside, objective third party, using our experience to help give you our insight into the district. Zoran Stojakovic is our demographer. He's not here, but he is is trained and educated and experienced in doing enrollment forecasting work. And he was the man behind the curtain doing the forecasts that I am presenting to you this evening. So like I said, we were hired by the district to do a demographic study and then look at that and as it relates to utilization. And these are the things that we're going to be sharing with you this evening. So in doing a demographic study, we like to say that in order to really understand what's happening to enrollment in your district, you have to understand what's happening to the total population. People always fixate growth or change in enrollment with new housing and things that are being built. But the age structure of the existing population in any school district is the primary factor and determinant of change over time. So before we do any kind of enrollment study or any kind of enrollment forecast, we actually do a full population study of your district and determine what the age structure is now and how that age structure of your population is anticipated to change over the next 10 years or through the life cycle of our forecast. In doing that, we work with a lot of census data. We look at fertility, we look at mortality, and then we factor in migration, which is how many people are moving in, but then also how many people are moving out. And then finally, once we get a good understanding of population, we start to look and study your enrollment data. As we do our demographic study work, we are not fortune tellers. There's things that we can't control or can't identify or always call as it comes to our work. So we established a set of assumptions. These are assumptions that things are really more non-demographic, that are economic factors, political, and also social factors and things like that, that we assume are going to maintain the same levels that they have in prior years and things like that. Things such as home mortgage interest rate. We're assuming that your home mortgage interest rate and the mortgage rates in the United States or in your area too is going to stay below 8%. Right now, it's up in it's getting up in that close area. I think it's in the 6s at the moment. But if that mortgage rate gets to above 8%, what it does is the higher that interest rate goes, the slower what it does is it slows down home sales activity. Fewer people are buying and selling homes. And so what happens is people are replacing older families with younger families, and people age more in place. And that results in enrollment dropping more than we had expected. If in mortgage rates go back down to 3%, like we saw in 2020, 2021-ish era, if it goes down to the 3%, it's going to accelerate home sales activity. And you're going to see a lot more homes being bought and sold. And that's going to actually accelerate or increase your enrollment above what we have anticipated. We're assuming that the mortgage rates can stay below 8%, and that's the basis of this forecast. There's other housing assumptions that we put in here with foreclosures, assuming that they're going to maintain to some similar levels. Nothing really surprising is going to happen in the area that's going to cause a seismic shift in people moving in or moving out or staying put. Another thing is the vouchers and charters and interdistrict transfers. I know that there are some things in the state legislature right now that could potentially accelerate the number of students that would participate in vouchers and open enrollment. And if that happens, that could have an impact on our forecast. Take the state of Indiana as a perfect example. They opened up interdistrict transfers or voucher program where students are allowed to attend schools from outside of their district of their choice. And that has caused a real big change in the mobility of students attending and living in and out of school districts. So that's something that we'll have to keep an eye on and see how that's gonna play out in the state of Missouri. Another one that we look at, or another housing one, is that we're assuming that you're going to have about 850 units bought and sold, single and multi-family units every year over the next 10 years. And that's what we've seen over the last 3 to 4 years, about what you've averaged in terms of new homes or homes being bought and sold. And that's new homes and also existing home sales. So these are the assumptions that we list. Other things that, such as private, we're assuming that you're going to have the same rates of students attending private and home schools versus public, and those types of things. We're assuming these are going to hold, but if they don't, it could have an impact on our forecast. We usually try to be within plus or minus 2% at the district level through the life of our forecast is our confidence interval as we work and evaluate our work after we're done. One of the things to do in our population study is we look at the age structure of your district. And so this is what we call a population pyramid. So each of these bars you see on the screen are a total population in an age group. So the bottom group is 0 to 4-year-olds. 5 to 9-year-olds is the next bar up, and then it goes to 10 to 14, 15 to 19, all the way up to 85 plus. These help give us a better understanding of the age structure as of 2020 in your district. And so the 0 to 4-year-olds are your preschoolers that were living in your district in 2020. The 5 to 9 are elementary age kids, middle schoolers are 10 to 14, high schoolers are 15 to 19. You get in the next group, or family formation. The 20 to 34 is the majority of parents are having children at some point in time throughout that in that life, in that span of ages. There are outliers. There are people who are having kids at an older ages and things like that. We're seeing a little more of that lately, but the majority of the population has children within 20 to 34 years as a majority. And then the next group between 30 and 54 are the householders with kids. These are the houses that have parents with children living in them. And then you get up into the empty nesters and turnover households. These are kind of give us an indication of what's going to happen in your district with your age if they were just to age in place. So this is your school district, the Raytown C2 school district population pyramid for 2020. As you can see, there are fewer, the 0 to 4 bar is smaller than the 5 to 9, and the 5 to 9 is smaller than the 10 to 14. So this tells us that if there were nobody moving in or nobody moving out of your district, everybody just aged in place, your enrollment would drop. And that's because there's just not enough preschoolers coming into elementary, and then elementary kids coming in the middle. There's fewer kids coming in to replace the population that's there now. But then we also look at people moving in from home sales, and that kind of helps fill out the bars a little bit. You could see that you have a fairly stable population pyramid. Sometimes you see they look a lot more strikingly different in terms of the shapes of the bars. And then we have your 2035 forecast. And this shows, you could see that the 0 to 4 and 5 to 9 bars aren't as quite different. They're getting more closely aligned together. And then you do, and I think a lot of that is what we see. And so that as your population ages, we're anticipating a lot more households are going to be turning over and younger families moving into your district to help offset some of the aging of the school age population. This is another good statistic that I like to share. It says 2020. These are the number of children ages under 1 year old up to 13 years old that were counted in the census within each of your elementary attendance areas. And this helps us kind of identify, as we start to do our enrollment study work, where there may be abnormally large age groups at any particular time. Like, for example, if you look at Little Blue, you could see there were 77 11-year-olds and 105 10-year-olds in 2020. Sometimes people look at enrollment data that may look at Little Blue's enrollment data at that particular time. And when that 105 group moves up and goes to the next school level, they see growth. So automatically people start to think, oh, we're growing. We grew by over 30 or about 30 students or something like that in this 1 year. So we're going to continue to grow. But as you look at it, you can see that that's just an abnormally large age group. And the next year that's coming back in is 83. So this helps us identify where there may be bubbles and where we don't particularly lean on a large group as a trend, but identify it as maybe a 1 year abnormality. Another thing to note on this that I like to point to is the district total. If you look at the far right, the older kids, you could see your numbers are 770, 785, and all like in the 700s, the last 5 years of age groups. As you start to look to the left, you start to see a lot of more of them are in the 600s. So what this tells us is you should have experienced enrollment decline, and you probably will continue to see some enrollment decline, not because of people moving out or not because of any kind of perception of the district. It's just because of the age structure and fewer kids in school age population that you have to serve in your district. So looking at our population study, I won't spend too much time on this, but you could see that we have in 2020, your median age is about 39.8, and we have that going up to 42 at the end of our forecast. So your population is aging. The number of births are going down slightly as the population ages, and the deaths are going up because of the aging population. And so that's off, that is offsetting. There are a larger number of deaths than there are births, and that's causing some fluctuations in your population. The net migration is what we're seeing as the net of people moving in versus moving out. So you've had about 540 people net come into your district from 2020 to 25. We see that remain relatively stable around the same amount of people moving in and moving out over the next 10 years of our forecast, actually going up slightly to 580 net people, total population moving in. And these are all people 0 to 4 to 85 plus year olds in this table. So looking at the enrollment forecast, how does this relate to your enrollment forecast? You could see that your K-5 enrollment's 3,367 as of this school year. We're anticipating that it's a steady decline in your enrollment, ending at about 3,199, right about 3,200 at the end of our forecast, a drop of about 168 kids. Your middle school is a little more stable, but there are only 3 grade groups. But that one's you're dropping from 1,669 down to about 1,571 at the end of this forecast in the 10-year forecast. And your high school population is anticipated to go from 2,386. Again, all 3 of these grade levels have a similar trend, sort of a steady decline in enrollment, going down to about 2,166 at the end of the forecast. So total forecasted enrollment is 7,692 right now. We're anticipating that to be around 7,200 at the end by 2034-35. And with that said, would you like me to would you answer any questions about the demographic study before I get into talk about utilization at all?
You can keep going.
Okay. I will keep going. So once we have our enrollment forecast, we have forecasted enrollment. We did this for every single one of your schools, the population and enrollment study for every building for the next 10 years. And now we're looking at things as it relates to utilization. So we took your forecasted enrollment, looked at the capacity of your buildings, and determined what is the capacity and utilization of your school now, and how does that change over the next 10 years. These are your elementary schools. So you could see we do a color scale here that kind of gives us a visual of how you look in terms of utilization. I would say ideally you would like to be somewhere in the middle of this range, but the sort of that light green to the light pink is sort of the sweet spot for utilization for schools. Your total district utilization at elementary is 75%, and that's forecasted to go down to 72% at the end of the forecast. So that's not a very low utilization. That's actually can be an ideal utilization number for the total district as it relates to elementary schools. Some of your schools, though, are some imbalances. As you can see, Blue Ridge, Spring Valley, and West Ridge are right now, they're in that sort of the darker green, but not the darkest. And they go into the lower scale, under 65% utilization through the rest of the forecast. And then you have Southwood and Fleet Ridge that are in the pink, but then getting up to the darker pink, getting up in the mid to high 90s. Southwood is the only school that we see getting at 100% at the 10-year point of this forecast. So when I look at this, I don't see a critical need to address much. Maybe some imbalances that could be addressed to try to look and see, are there adjacencies with the pink zones and the green zones to maybe make some adjustments to help balance things out and get them all in the light green or light pink. But nothing critical in terms of over or underutilization in your elementary schools. Middle schools, again, are very similar. You're running 76% now, going down to 71%. So utilization is fairly balanced in your middle schools. I would say that your middle schools are running on the lower side to what we typically see in the country in terms of total numbers of students served at middle school. So your middle schools are pretty small in terms of total enrollment, but I don't see any major imbalances in your middle schools that necessitate a need to try to shuffle, do any kind of boundary changes as it relates to the utilization. And then high schools also running 81% now, going down to 73% at the end of the forecast. Raytown South's a little bit higher than Raytown High, but nothing that necessitates an immediate need to make a change as it relates to utilization from my perspective. So I think utilization looks pretty good. You have some flexibility to make changes if the district wants to with facilities and things like that. But this can help serve as a guide for the district to see what you're looking at now and how it's going to change over the next 10 years. And as you start looking through facility planning and as you work through that day to day and whenever the time comes, this is something you can refer to help give you an idea on how we anticipate utilization changing over the next 10 years. So that's all I have. I do have the studies with me as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Any questions?
I did have a question. On the utilization, also, does it have, when you did the study of growth, did you by chance do any particular areas or zones, or do you consider the zones of the boundaries of the elementary schools and where those growth may be? I was curious because we want to know what makes Southwood and Fleet Ridge increase in their utilization, and maybe that could be something we could tap into.
Yeah, I think that if I look at if I pull up the demographic study, take a look at Southwood and Fleet Ridge here. So I think one of the things could be that we see net migration in the Fleet Ridge zone is higher than what we see in other zones. And so I think that could be one of the contributing factors, that we see more people net moving into this area than moving out. Some of your other areas, we do see a net migration on the negative side, so more people moving out. But and Southwood has the same And also you have a fairly stable population in these zones where the population is not aging as much as some of the other zones. Look also looking at the Southwood Pyramid, you could see if you look at their population pyramid, this is another thing in that in 2020, that 0 to 4 age group was larger than the 5 to 9. And then the 10 to 14 is the smaller 5 to 9, but then a bigger 10 to 14. So I think that some of this also is that you have a lot more preschool age children living in the Southwood zone that that's going to continue to matriculate into your district. If we look at Fleet Ridge does not have as much that you have that normal deficit of 0 to 4 to 5 to 9. I think a lot of Fleet Ridge is more people moving in anticipated to cause that growth to occur. So I'll also circle back with my demographer and ask him if he has any other insights into Southwood and Fleet Ridge that anything that I may not have identified that can maybe help give you some insight on why we're seeing that those areas in particular grow.
Yeah, because there's a few schools that's kind of close to each other, and their utilization is quite different. So, but anyway, I'd like to see that.
I think they have newer homes over there. There's more new homes here. More leases.
Yeah.
Mr. President. So I just have a question for Dr. Martin Knox and for Dr. Calcaris. So how are you guys going to use this? And what's next for you guys as far as using this?
Excellent question. I think what we first got to start with is their prediction with regard to student enrollment. Obviously over the next 10 years, predicting 7,200 kiddos, which is 500 or 600 fewer than we are in this place right now. Is that a drastic, accelerated decline of students? No, but is it consistent over the next 10 years? It is. And so what that clearly indicates to us is, okay, how do we start matching expenditures to make sure that we can serve our community and our students? And so that's really what we're looking at is, again, how do we match our expenditures and resources to serve our students over the next 10 years? Does that mean that we have to contract in some places? It does. That's nothing to be alarmed about. This is what communities do. We appreciate Matt's work in helping us predict how soon we need to do those things, but certainly already starting that work of, what does that mean for full-time employees? What does that mean for facilities usage? Part of what he did was a utilization study. So do we need all of the facilities that we have here in Raytown over the next 10 years? Are there places where we can contract and repurpose some of our facilities? And the answer to that is yes. And so we will use this data to help drive those decisions, along with starting to engage the community and getting some feedback about what this demographic report reveals, some of our plans with regard to consolidating some spaces, and then formulate a plan. And our hope is to bring a plan to the board in October, November of next year.
And thank you for that question, Mr. Moore. And Dr. Calcara hit all of the points that needed to be addressed at this particular point in time. I think one of the things that we have to do with the utilization study is continue to look at the data to see what it really means about our utilization of our facilities, our utilization of our staff, but more importantly, how we're servicing our children. And so when we take all of those factors into consideration, this just sets the stage for us to be able to have ongoing dialogue, including our staff, our students and our community, because we don't want to sit back and make a decision about something that needs to be done or should be done and then realize midpoint it's an uh-oh. So we need to make sure that we're engaging the appropriate staff and bringing that information back and continuing to work with Mr. Cropper in this work, because this is very, very intense work. And what we're not going to do is come back tomorrow and say the numbers say this and this is what we're going to do. It's going to be very engaged in terms of our communication and collaboration with, again, our staff, our students, and our community in terms of identifying what our next steps are, because this is a very heavy lift right here. But we want to make sure that when we do it right, not just for this moment, but moving forward for Raintown Quality Schools.
Mr. President, I did have a question. With the trends that you kind of forecasted, how do these compare to neighboring districts and how their impact will also indirectly impact us? Because we know we get a lot of transfers from neighboring districts. So with the housing climate, with probably varying factors, how is that kind of put into this formula, the trends and how it will impact us with our neighboring districts?
Well, we did study sort of the metro area and the volatility and the housing market and the different factors within the sort of the metro area and areas around you. We didn't get into too much of analysis of their actual enrollment. Our focus was on Raytown, but I would say that that in a district like yours, that's sort of a suburb of a metro area, that you're tracking very similar to what we typically see. Nothing strikingly high growth or high decline, but I think that what we're seeing here is that you have a lot of population that is aging, and a lot of dynamics and things happening within the population within your district that's going to cause some change, and where people are moving and where students are attending. And I think that the policies that are being considered in the state are something that we're going to have to continue to evaluate and see how they are tracking. But in relation to how this district compares to not necessarily the Kansas City metro area, but other areas where we have similar dynamics in the country, you are very, very similar in terms of what we typically see for a district of this type.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
There's another piece that also plays a factor, and we had the conversation about it with the Senate bill and House bill that are out there that will impact open enrollment. It will also have an impact on our enrollment, but we were looking at the forecast based on the here and the now, not knowing what that legislation might bring for Raytown as well.
So my question was related to that. So the study, and how are we going to be dealing or using Mr. Cropper in the future, especially if some of these assumptions change? How will they be updating the report? Like, because some of the assumptions are broad, and one of them does say state of Missouri does not change any of its current laws, and that's probably not likely over the next 10 years. So if the assumptions change, and how will the report be updated?
So the report right now is the here and the now. It's not inclusive of any of the laws and any of the adjustments, but should that occur, we will continue to evaluate how we're utilizing our facilities based on our enrollment and as well as the staffing that's needed. But this is an ongoing dialogue and continuing to partner with Mr. Cropper. So he's not just presenting and he's going to go away. You're attached to us, Mr. Cropper, moving forward. And this is an ongoing dialogue with this work because, as I said, it's a heavy lift. This is not something we're just going to give the community and the board information and just walk away. It's going to drive the narrative for us.
And if I could add, we do like to track our enrollment. This is a science that we do this every day across the United States. So we're very passionate about our process and our accuracy. So over the next couple of years, even if we're not doing any contract work with the district, we will be looking at your enrollment, how enrollments are coming in to see how our enrollment forecasts are tracking. And I would say that ideally, plus or minus 2% at the district level over the life of this forecast is what we try to shoot for. But there's a lot of things that are happening in our country and things like that. And at the federal level and even the state level, that could create more volatility in this forecast. And so it's something that we just need to keep watching to see which of these assumptions, if any, start to become violated. And if they do, and we start to see the trend or the magnitude of the trend start to change, then that's when we would recommend another look or an update to the forecast.
I just wanted to add that this is a forecast and we have an advantage. This is very exciting. And so we have a challenge, but Raytown sits in the middle of the universe and we're landlocked, but we're going to be busting at the seams with the decisions we make because there's things just as been reported tonight that not enough people know about. And a lot of times we focus on, and not that we shouldn't focus on other things, the negative things, the bad things, but we got Culinary Institute, we got Herndon Career Center, we got early childhood education, we got all these things that so many people don't know about. And we're headed in the right direction. And so I think we got to ask ourselves the right questions, not just how do we deal with this forecast, but how we do something different, how we make it natural, how do we make sure that we maintain our enrollment or even increase it? And I think we still got to ask all the questions that's been asked, but we got to ask that question as well, because it doesn't have to go this way. That's just the forecast.
Any other questions? Mr. Cropper, thank you and your team for all your work and being here tonight. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Cropper. You as well. And the final portion of the report of the superintendent is 8.8. We lost one of the representatives, but I'm quite sure you're going to deliver all by yourself. You know I'm here with you, always have your back.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Savannah Young. Unfortunately, Chase had to leave to go to his last and final theater performance at Raytown High School. So I'll be reading his parts too. I am the incoming Stuco president of the 2025-2026 school year. I will replace Chase as he served as a president this past year. We have a calm ending to our school year this year, as we had Egg-tastic for Easter, where we stuffed eggs with notes to kids that just like needed something throughout the day, and with candy, and handed them out in the morning. And then we worked on preparing upcoming events for this school year. So our retreat for next school year. And then we also have been voting for class officers. We also had our end of year banquet tonight. It was a great turnout. We handed out letters. We had 13 Stuco kids letter this year. You had to get 130 hours of community service, and we had 13 kids reach that. We've also handed out fun awards that everybody voted on. We recognized students that have been in Stuco for 4 years, and we had 3 of them. And then we also gave our seniors gifts. We also did teacher appreciation last week, where we wrote personal notes to each teacher in the school. And then we also helped set up food in the teacher's lounge so they could eat throughout the day. Now so you guys can get to know me, I'm Savannah. I'm excited to serve as the next year Stuco president at Raytown High School. Next year will be my 7th year in student council. I'm excited to serve this next year and bring more ideas to the table. Our other class officers consist of Emily Chin, vice president, Brendan Centelli, secretary, Willow Sturry, public relations. And then now from Chase, thank you for everyone for supporting our council this year. It truly has been great. You all are amazing. Have a great summer, and our new leaders will see you next year. Thank you.
That concludes the report of the superintendent, Mr. Chair.
Next, we'll have Ray of Hope.
Good evening, President Burton, Board of Education, Dr. Martin Knox. This evening for Ray of Hope, we are recognizing 2 student athletes from both high schools, and we are recognizing them for their outstanding academic excellence and athletic achievements. Their dedication, perseverance, and leadership serve as an inspiration to their peers and the entire Raytown community, and we have a video about both of them.
You know, the thing with Ty is there's not like one specific thing he does that makes me think Ty is a ray of hope. He's that every day.
He's everything you want a high school kid to be. He shows up every day, works his butt off, asks questions. When he wants to know something, he's willing to ask and kind of advocate for himself. So he's a really great student here, and he does a really good job here for South in the hallways and athletically on the sports field.
You know who he is in the building. He does everything the right way, good grades, good citizenship, and he's just everything you want in a student athlete.
I think what it means to be a ray of hope is embracing the people in the community, you know, especially as an athlete, facing adversity, getting better each day while, you know, trying to stay on top of school because, you know, you're a student first.
That's really impressive to see kids with that grit and determination to get things done and get better and not give up in the process, but to always kind of trust the process and believe in it. And so that's the thing that's impressed me the most about him. He asks me all the time, like, hey, Coach Harris, can I vacuum the weight room? Like when the weight room's dusty or dirty, he asks, like, can I come down during advisory and vacuum the weight room? I'm like, no, Ty, we'll get it done. Don't worry about it. But he cares about this place, and, you know, just him asking those types of questions and being that type of kid is kind of why he just stands out.
It was times and moments where I thought I wanted to go other places. I'm like, you know, I want to embrace my people that I'm with. You know, my coaches, they are really big factors. I can't say this enough, but I want to give all thanks to my coaches for giving me who I am, especially Coach Harris. He made me the man and student I am today. My toughest moments, he was always there for me, you know, and not just on the field, but outside. Like Coach Harris is a father figure to me, so, you know, he means a lot. Also, thanks to Coach Stevie, he pushes me every day. He keeps me going.
He's super encouraging with his teammates and how he conducts himself. Everybody understands who he is, what he's about. Who he is now is why he's a ray of hope for Raytown schools and our community.
If you want something, be committed and also stay faithful and be patient and don't give up.
What do you think it means to be a ray of hope?
What I've heard is that you have to have, you know, good grades, good attendance, and I feel like that's me because, you know, I'm always at school. I show up, I'm respectable, and I have manners, and, you know, I respect my elders.
I chose Jourdain because, one, he's a transfer and he's just adjusted well. He's done a lot of things for Raytown with a good attitude, great effort, works hard. He's quiet. He is a quiet but fierceful athlete. Also in the classroom, he does extremely well.
He's just one of those kids that make you smile every time that you see him. He always, you know, checks in on me too, which I feel like is my job as a teacher to check in on kids.
It's been very good here. Like, I got to meet very good teachers, and they've been on my side and been supporting me, and I love it because the support means a lot to me. I thank him for all the support they gave me throughout my years at Raytown.
I would say he's just so genuine. You know, you really look at him and see that he wants to make the place better. Being a student and an athlete, he has an opportunity to influence a lot of students here at Raytown High School. And again, he just carries himself so well. A lot of students look up to him. And again, just that genuine personality. He truly cares about people as people.
So yeah, last year, my junior year, I had Ms. Poverenti for college and career prep, and she was just always, you know, there from day one. She always pushed me and make sure that I got everything ready for the next level after high school.
I know that this was hard for him because he does not like attention, and I think that his being so humble has helped him succeed in ways that some people won't ever know or understand, but he knows, and we know.
Jordan is a very chill person. He doesn't really like attention, but he's doing it because, you know, this is really out of my comfort zone. But my mom, she came from a really art background. Like, she grew up, didn't have all of it, and I just want to, you know, make her proud, and so I can take her out and just make her proud.
I know that he will succeed in whatever it is that he does. He just has, I know, made a difference in my life as a teacher, and I know that he'll do that for other people as well.
So you heard Jordan say he does not like the spotlight, so he found a way not to be here tonight. But it's a good reason. He is competing in the track conference to move on. So we wish him the best of luck tonight, and hopefully he's doing well. We do have the pleasure of having Tyrone Towns here with us.
I said, do it again. Do it again.
Watch this shoe. You gotta get the whole, but you gotta get the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That was on purpose.
We got a new dress code, you know.
It is my pleasure to introduce to you tonight our Grow Your Own Scholarship recipients. Too many times we hear the negative stories about public education. If you are a teacher and public educator right now, it probably doesn't feel good to hear the things we hear about education in the world. We don't have enough young people who are pursuing being educators as a career. I think this is certainly something as society we've got to do better with honoring the position, paying it what it's worth. And so there's so many times, again, where we see that it's negative. I will tell you that these young folks we're going to introduce tonight give me hope. That the next generation of public educators will make this into a profession and bring this pathway forward that accelerates young people wanting to get into education. I'm very excited to introduce Miss Kristen Drummond, who's going to talk to you a little bit. I don't know if she knows she's doing this. She's going to talk to you a little bit about her program. Then she's going to talk to you about the recipients of our Grow Your Own Scholarship. So Miss Kristen Drummond.
Well, okay then. Good evening, Mr. Burton, Dr. Martin Knox, and members of the board. My name is Kristen Drummond. I work for Herndon Career Center, and I am the education exploration instructor there. There I work with juniors and seniors in the district who are interested in pursuing future careers in education. And I get to spend time with them, helping them kind of figure out their place in the world of education, what they want to do, where they want to be. Arguably, I think I have the best job in the district. I love what I do every single day. Because I get to work with amazing students like Savannah and some of the other students I'm going to introduce this evening. Another hat that I wear is I am the Teacher Ambassador Coordinator. So I work in conjunction with teacher ambassadors at South and Ray High, and their job is to positively promote the teaching profession within the schools. They help me to do that by hosting various events. So for example, this year, for the first time, they took students to UCM's Future Teacher Day. So they were able to recruit students in their buildings and get them out learning about becoming teachers. They also helped me identify students in the building that possess the qualities and characteristics of future educators. And that helps me to connect with them. And lastly, they help to spread the word about our Grow Your Own Scholarship initiative. And that's why I'm here this evening in that capacity to introduce 4 students to you that are this year's scholarship recipients. Do we want them to stand as I speak?
So when you bring them up here.
One at a time. Great. Let's start with Ava Briscato. So as she's coming up here, I'll just kind of speak. So Ava is in the education exploration program with me. So we've got to spend the year. She's been student teaching in 1st grade at Northfleet. And she will be attending William Jewell as an elementary education major.
This is telling us she's going to come back and teach with us.
She's already completed her substitute certification.
All right. Teach you.
Thank you, Ava. Next up, I'm going to bring up Mr. Devin Cabin. And as he comes up, I'll tell you a little bit about Mr. Devin. He is a 2nd-year student in the education exploration program. So he came to me last year as a junior. He decided to come back and he wants to be a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
Amazing. He's been interning at Spring Valley Elementary in a kindergarten classroom with Miss Vandeveer. And he will be attending Northwest Missouri State, majoring in early childhood education. He is also working on his substitute certification at present. Thank you, Devin. The next student we'd like to recognize, he had to dip out. He is a jack of all trades and is performing, but Chase. And Chase, yes, Chase. He intends to attend the University of Central Missouri, UCM, and major in secondary speech and theater.
All right.
And last but not least, this evening, I would like to introduce to you Jonathan Williams. Jonathan currently participates in Herndon Career Center's Behavior Health Science program. He told me when he first went into the program, he wanted to be a therapist, but later on realized that his true calling was to become a secondary science teacher, specifically physics. Right. And we wish him all the best as he starts his scholarly journey at Missouri State University in secondary science. Oh, look at that.
Yay.
That's it.
Okay.
Someone have to Photoshop Chase in there. Yeah. All right, let's get on up.
Thank you.
Charlotte's file.
All right, looking good.
Next, we'll have our public comment period. Public comment shall not exceed 30 minutes. 5 minutes will be allotted to each person, except in instances where 6 or more persons have indicated desire to speak, which is not the case today. And so, thus following the maximum number of participants to speak in the allotted time. Speakers will not be permitted to participate in gossip, make defamatory comments, or use abusive or vulgar language. First up, we have Athena Hoffman. Please turn the mic on, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to our Board of Education for letting me speak here tonight. For those who don't know what I'm here to speak on, the Raytown Quality School District has decided that if classes don't make a minimum of 15, they either won't exist or they will be combined via Zoom with Raytown High. This is mainly affecting our fine arts and AP classes. Currently, they plan to combine all AP courses from Raytown South and Raytown High and plan to teach it via online learning Zoom, with the class that has the most being the ones to host. The reasoning given for this has been budget cuts. These budget cuts have come from the fact that we spend a lot of money on online teaching courses such as Edgenuity and Elevate, courses I have had the pleasure of participating in myself. I'd also like to note that I took high school courses in middle school and never received the credit for them, which made me and many of my peers very frustrated, as that was the only reason we took them. So now me and my peers and more advanced youth to come have lost credits, but now the district wishes to frankly take away our quality of education. There's a national teacher shortage, yes, but now in our district, it seems there's a shortage for quality education among AP classes. Let me explain from my online school and COVID to my current high school education. When I was in 4th grade, COVID hit, and it hit hard. I did not come back from spring break. As I'm sure y'all remember, I finished off my 4th grade year fine. It was a struggle. Vocab was interesting. But 5th grade, constantly sitting in front of a computer drained me so much I wasn't doing any work. I had over 80 missing assignments because I would just sit there with my camera off staring. By the end of the year, because I couldn't just stay at my computer all day and I wasn't being challenged in online school, even though I was in the after-school book club in which we read Harry Potter, they couldn't accurately assess if we were far behind or farther ahead, which led to a lot of issues when we entered middle school. Now that AI is even more advanced, they still wouldn't be able to do that if we combine into Zoom classes, with kids frequently using ChatGPT and other ways to cheat their way through the system sometimes. My 8th grade year, my science teacher quit about 2 weeks into our first semester. So for half the semester, my class did nothing but sit on desk and play mum ball. Then for the rest of first semester, we did an online program called Edgenuity, which the board is soon to approve. Now, if you ask my class, which was the honors physical science class, what we remember, it would probably be the only thing we learned that whole year, which was in the second semester when they actually approved for the teacher to teach us. which it was Newton's 3 laws, which she deemed the most important thing. That's all I remember because the program used was crashing our computers, leaving us unable to learn and do work, and the videos, which could span up to 15 minutes, which were also all unskippable, usually had no connection to the questions asked. And Edgenuity is known for using an AI detection system to grade its work. I'll admit, I cheated my way through that first semester because I had to. I was learning nothing and had threats of failing the course. Don't look at me like that, Dr. Marks. I was learning nothing and had threats of failing the course and not advancing. So I just copy and paste the question, then copy the answer, which would end up, once submitting, being the sample answer given to help kids understand why their question could have been wrong. Despite my frankly obvious cheating, I would get all those questions right. Not to mention, we also won't allow to access the district textbook that the high school was using as it was deemed too mature for a science course. In another class, my 8th grade honors English 1, my class and others, including the regular English courses, we piloted a program called Common Lit. This is a website with an online English curriculum that has you read what are usually short stories and answer reading comprehension questions. As soon as we started on Common Lit, English students reading 2 books went away. We didn't even get to read Romeo and Juliet, as that was not the Common Lit curriculum. I and many of the students hated Common Lit, and even our teacher who left the district and told us that Common Lit was part of the reason, she didn't like it either, as it took away what English courses really were about. Now I'm a freshman who's currently taking enriched biology. My first semester, I had an online teacher from a program called Elevate, where we were severely behind every other class, and we learned pretty much nothing. A peer of mine who was doing an online anatomy and physiology class, ironically enough, with the same teacher, me and some other friends were curious on what she was doing. And come to find out, they were doing the exact same thing as us, despite the classes being completely different. By second semester, the teacher in the room, who was referred to as a classroom coach and just the supervisor of students, had to fight for us to be switched to an in-person for our second semester, to which my now teacher, Mr. Link, sacrificed his 5th-hour plan period to pretty much adopt my class so that we would be able to have an adequate education. In first semester of Enriched English 2, my freshman course, we did nothing but Common Lit. So every day we were staring at our computer for 45 minutes doing an online curriculum that wasn't even challenging to most of the kids in my class. The assignments we did reminded me of the stuff I did in 7th grade. Not only that.
Excuse me. Your time's up.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next, we'll have Erica Sicardi. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
All right. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Burton, Dr. Martin Knox, esteemed members of the Raytown School Board, thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Erica Sicardi, and I have had at least one student attending Raytown School District since 2005, starting with the preschool program. My youngest son is finishing up his junior year at Raytown High School. Apparently, I am speaking about the same issue as that amazing young lady who just stepped down. My son participated in one of the Our Town meetings. He said that while it was interesting, he said that his issues were not seen or heard. His concern, and mine, is the issue of upper-level electives for our high school students and how this impacts their sense of belonging in the culture of Raytown High School and Raytown South High School. Classes such as rep theater, music theory, early child development, several visual art classes, as well as some AP classes have had problems getting enough students enrolled to meet the 15-student minimum requirement in recent years. In fact, I've been told that AP biology is not being offered at RHS next year because there weren't enough students. These are students who have passion, whose future careers may fall in these fields. When these classes are not offered, students have to settle for something that may not hold their interest. And I'm certain that all of us understand the dissatisfaction and disappointment at having to settle. Finding a way to offer these classes consistently will create a better sense of belonging, of being seen by their school community. 2 years ago, Dr. Martin Knox was hired as our new superintendent. She brought passion for teaching and for all students under her care. She is seen interacting with students and attending every game, concert, and theatrical performance that she can. The board and school administrators should take inspiration from her passion and give our juniors and seniors more opportunities to follow their interests, their passion, their future by opening up these classes with smaller sizes. Raytown is not a large school district, but we have the opportunity to offer amazing classes with exceptional teachers. Please give our students the chance to show you what they're capable of by consistently offering classes that interest them. I promise you, you will see more involvement, more sense of community and belonging. You will be proud of them if you give them a chance. I may be on the downhill slide of having a student in this school district, but I feel duty bound to speak on behalf of those who cannot do so. We're all responsible for making these students feel like they are wanted, that they belong, that they are seen, that they are part of their high school culture. Thank you for your time.
I want to thank both of you for your public comment. Next, we'll have board committee reports. Is there a motion?
President, I move that the board approve the April 14, 2025 board policy review meeting and February 10, 2025 financial meeting.
Motion made and seconded. Are there any other reports from other committees? All right. All right, take a vote. Motion passes. Next, we'll have the board committee assignments. I have, let's see, we have for the finance committee, we have Michael Watson as chair, Rick Moore as member. Board policy, we have Rick Moore as chair and Jordan Jameson. For capital improvements committee, we have myself, chair, and Michael Watson. Community engagement, we have Edna. Help me again. Adelusala as chair, and Dr. Douglas as member. Curriculum committee, curriculum instruction, we have Dr. Douglas as chair and Jordan Jamerson as member. Safety committee, we have Mr. Newton and Ms. Edna as Mr. Newton is chair. Citizens Advisory Committee, our representative is Mr. Newton as our representative, where Dr. Martin Knox will be the chair. City of Raytown liaison will be myself. Chamber of Commerce rep would be Mr. Newton. Raytown Education Foundation will be Dr. Douglas. And the MSBA Summer Summit Annual Conference Delegate will be Dr. Douglas with Mr. Newton as the alternate. As you will see on there, the purpose of each committee and the service time, the resources needed will be as loaded there for your reading and We're asking Dr. Martin Knox to appoint the executive staff to be members of these committees. Yeah, it's info item, so we can go to the, is there any comment, question on that? All right.
Mr. President, we have one of our students who actually returned, and I don't know if I need to. Sorry, excuse me.
Sorry.
I don't know if we have to adjust the agenda to put this in, but I asked him to remain and to stay so we can recognize him for his hard work. So is that okay?
Yes.
With the loud applause, I thought it was.
I enjoyed the outfit. I just ran to Ray High to do a children's show.
That's
So.
a fitting
Doing a
outfit,
little
Chase.
children's show.
That's a fitting outfit. I love it.
Okay, so to reiterate, Chase is going to be attending UCM. Secondary speech and theater is going to be his major. And by his attire, you can tell he was just performing.
Yes.
Yes, he does have sub-certification.
It's the hat. I've got for you, Chase. Woo! Thank you.
Congrats, Chase. Congrats, my guy.
Thank you.
Chase back this summer.
Thank you.
Take care, Chase.
Since we're switched up the order a little bit, I want to make one more comment about the committees. We can have up to 3 members on each committee. So if there's a committee that you're not on and you want to add to what you are doing, we can talk about that, outside of the meeting, and then we can get that addressed. All right. Moving on. Next, we have new business. We have focused communications module. Is there a motion?
Mr. President, I move the Board of Education approve a communication add-on module with the district's focused student information system in the amount of $22,000.
Motion made and seconded. Take a vote. Motion passes. Edgenuity renewal.
Oh my God.
Is there a motion?
Mm-mm. Does nobody want to read this one? I'll move that the Board of Education approve the renewal of Edgenuity from Imagine Learning in the amount of $85,510 as presented.
Thank you.
Motion made and seconded.
Mr. President. So can someone explain exactly what we're voting, what this contract is giving us?
Good evening, Board. Dr. Martin Knox. So our partnership with Edgenuity allows us to do a couple of things. First of all, provide a state certified option for families that choose to pursue part or full-time virtual instruction. So we do have families that will want to pursue full-time virtual instruction. That's something that's part of state statute. And districts need to have options for families to pursue that if that is their choice to do so. And we have several families in the district that will petition the district for full-time virtual instruction. We have lots of scenarios that pop up during the year where students maybe have transferred to us, or their credit situation warrants us offering a course through Edgenuity because it's not a course that we currently offer. Either we didn't have enough students enroll in the course, or for a variety of reasons, we need to extend students the opportunity to earn a virtual credit. And again, having a preferred vendor board, you might remember last year, we actually went out for bid, and Edgenuity was the company that we awarded the contract to. Also, we have credit recovery scenarios, both during summer school, traditional summer school, is also during the regular school year, where we need to provide students the opportunity to recover credits virtually. And so Edgenuity gives us the option of a curriculum, of having virtual instructors when those scenarios aren't available to make it happen in an in-person environment. So there's a myriad of ways in which we use Edgenuity to help students earn credits and stay on track for graduation.
Is this price the same no matter how many students take advantage of it?
Yeah, it's a negotiated rate, an annual rate that was part of the initial contract we signed up for last year.
Mr. Brown, do we ever evaluate that program to see how they're doing? Looking at.
Yeah, we certainly monitor the success rate of our students that are in Edgenuity. You might remember a program called Launch that the school district participated in out of Springfield. When we bid services, we wanted to find a program that had a track record of student success, and we felt like Edgenuity provided a better track record of student success than other vendors that are out in the marketplace. So yes, we certainly pay attention to that. Anecdotally, we're also listening to our students and families about their experiences with our virtual learning provider. And then we're in contact with Edgenuity quite a bit with regards to their curriculum, making sure that it's aligned to state standards and also has the same level of rigor that our in-person instruction provides.
So how many students currently are using it?
I couldn't tell you that right now, Mr. Jamerson. I can certainly find that number out and get it to you. Yep.
Mr. President, just one more question. Do you currently or have or are you looking at having some kind of way to meet with the families and all this, occasionally, if their questions and see about success?
Yes, our counselors are in regular contact. We have teachers and counselors at each of our schools where students are participating that are in a consistent feedback loop with them on how things are going, what additional supports they might need. Are they able to log on successfully? Do they have the resources they need to complete the courses successfully? And then when kids are struggling to meet expectations, that's when the counselor is stepping in with the family to find out if that's not the right option for them, what other options might be available. But yes, we're in constant contact with our families that are enrolled in Edgenuity classes.
Dr. Griner, the board, we will request that information from Dr. Martin Knox, and we want you to provide that information to her so she can then provide it to us.
Of course.
And same for, I think there were some requests I made as well to Dr. Kalkara. We would like for you to do those things, and we'll make those requests to Dr. Martin Knox.
Understood.
Right. All right, motion passes. Next, we have the NWEA benchmark assessment renewal. Is there a motion?
I move that the Board of Education approve the renewal of NWEA uniform parkour policy in the amount of $130 as compared.
Like, that's all our money. All right. Motion made and seconded. Is there any question? Now let's vote. Ms. Edna? Motion passes. Next, we have the McGraw-Hill Elementary Science Resource Quote and Bid Sheet.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the purchase of the McGraw-Hill Inspired Cycles for elementary schools for a 6-year term at a cost of $601,000, $507 and 31 cents as presented.
Second. Motion made and seconded. Mr. President, quickly, I'm glad that 6-year term is in there for the $601,000. I know a little bit about this, but can you kind of explain what exactly it is?
Of course. So the school district, every 6, 7, 8 years, we go out to bid for curriculum resources. We've been long overdue for K-5 science. So obviously the science curriculum serves all of our students, all of our elementary grades at all 10 of our elementary sites. There is some savings to the 6-year agreement, so there's a bit of sticker shock with the cost, but that covers the district for resources that go to the classroom. And then there's also consumables annually that the district receives, licenses to online resources, professional development for our teachers. We had a district committee of staff that vetted several vendors and piloted several different resources through an RFP process. And our staff overwhelmingly approved the Inspire Science program for our elementary students to begin next year.
Thank you. Motion passed. Mr. President, I move the Board of Education approve the purchase of McGraw-Hill Inspired Science for high school physical science for a 6-year term at the cost of $123,368.18 as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
I move that the Board of Education approve the purchase of the Fine Learning for middle school and high school science at a cost of $60,190 as presented. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Mr. President, Dr. Griner, is this in conjunction with your real world, not your, but with the real world learning aspects that we've implemented?
Yeah, so this is a a new partnership with a very unique resource that's going to help not only with our high school students with the Career Academy transformation, but we're actually going to utilize this resource K-12. When we think about the profile of a learner in Raytown Quality Schools, what it means to be academically sound, to be reflective, to be a contributor to your community, we want to build those skills every year in all of our students. And so Defined Learning has a platform that actually allows us to develop project-based learning across all grade levels, where our kids will be solving real-world problems collaboratively with their classmates. And those prompts and those projects are difficult to develop. There's a lot that goes into those. And so Defined Learning is a resource out there that is able to help us develop the projects that our kids will complete and the skills that they'll develop, not just while they're in high school, but starting in kindergarten. These skills, these profile of a learner skills, are going to show up on our report cards beginning next year at elementary, and then eventually move into middle and high. So we need to know and have confidence that our students are developing these profile of a learner skills across all of our grade levels. And so this resource, Defined Learning, not only gives us resources, but also some great professional development for our staff.
Thank you for that. Motion passes. Next, we have the content filter purchase technology.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education accept the quote for the purchase of 3 years of LineWise service from Broaderland Security at an annual rate of $65,013.33.
Second.
What is this?
This is important. This is important. Come on, Matt.
Matt,
I just want you to come up here.
yeah, I want to see you, Matt. How you doing?
Mr. Burton, Dr. Martin Knox, board, Mr. Newton in particular. This is our web filtering product, basically. It does a little bit more than that, but by law, we do have to filter our any internet searches our students make. And currently we have a vendor, but we've had some trouble continuing to kind of stay ahead on kids getting into games and things like that. And so we'd like to make the move to this. On top of just your standard internet filtering, it will also have after hours filtering on our devices and our student accounts. If there's any troubling searches, they will contact emergency contacts in the district. And if they can't get a hold of somebody, they will call the police. So important service, in my opinion, and a bargain at that price.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Appreciate you,
The
man.
troublemakers get into stuff. Mr. Newton policy.
Appreciate your prompt emails as well. Like, when something goes wrong, we get them. We appreciate that. Thank you. Blocking you. Never send an email. Motion passes. Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the 3-year Phase 4 contract with Ford Next Generation Learning for a total of $250,000, with the amount due for the 25-26 school year of $125,000.
Mr. President. No, I don't want
So
to.
second.
I've seen this, Dr. Brian.
Is somebody second?
I said,
Oh,
I just knew Dr. Brian was coming up here. If I said, Mr. President, you're doing a great job. I really like Ford Next Generation.
yeah, man, so do I.
And I think you're doing a spectacular job with this whole thing. I just want to see you again. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Mr. Newton. It certainly is a collaborative effort, starting at the top with Dr. Martin Knox, our staff, everybody that's been involved with the Career Academy transformation, doing a great job. So it's definitely a collaborative effort, but thank you. Appreciate it.
So happy Mother's Day. Yeah. I agree with you. She's doing a tremendous job. Thank you. Thank you.
Also mentioned we'll be bringing an update to the board this summer regarding next steps with the academy transformation. So more to come.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Garner.
Thank you so much.
Motion passes. Next, we have the first read policies. Just for information. Policies were reviewed April 14th by the Policy Review Committee. And then we'll have the approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the May 12th, 2025 consent agenda as presented.
All right, before we take the vote, I'd like to read the donations. We have a donation of flowers for Memorial Garden worth $160 from Nate Cook at IDL. A donation of staff appreciation gift worth $200 from Ivanhoe United Church of Christ to Robinson Elementary School. A donation of student raffle prizes worth $125 from Ivanhoe United Church of Christ to Robinson Elementary School. A donation of an e-gift card totaling $1,994.36 from Office Depot to Southwood Elementary School. A donation of donation of snacks for staff appreciation worth $140 from City of True Church to Three Trails Preschool. And a donation of a $50 gift card for flowers for self-care staff project from Costco to Three Trails Preschool. Once again, we greatly appreciate all our community helpers and contributors to the wellness and the education of our students and the help to our staff. Thank you once again. Take a vote. Motion passes. And now, what are we all been waiting for?
Mr. President, I move that the board adjourn the regular board meeting at 8:44 p.m.
Motion made and seconded.